Yes, yes.
So for a lot of my clients, I recommend to pump up on hemp protein if they have soy and
Hmm.
gluten restriction. Also on the beans. What is your
Okay.
favorite protein sources if you take soy and the gluten out?
Yeah, so mainly I supplement with a lot of protein powder. And the
Mm-hmm.
protein powder normally is mostly from pea protein. But because unfortunately the amino score for most plant-based protein isn't perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
I try and get blends. So like you did mention, like getting from hemp. I haven't really tried hemp, but I get blends. I think there's a very nice brand I'm currently drinking from Vega Sports, and theirs is mostly pea, but they have like brown rice protein and blended in, quinoa protein blended
Mm-hmm.
in, and, like alfalfa or something. I can't remember, but it was a few. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also, of course we have to look at the macronutrients and how many grams of protein we're taking, but also how much of that is going to be easily converted to the like based on the amino score of each source. So I know that even though pea has all the essential amino acids, I think it's for some particular amino acids, it's quite low. That's why I like to have blends. In that way. In terms of food, you mentioned beans, and actually, funny thing was in my last prep, I live in this part of Tokyo I live in is actually like near like a mini like Muslim town. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of halal stores that sell, a lot of dried beans. So we can get like you mentioned lentils, there's like different colors of lentils. What else? Like the red beans and kidney beans and all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of
Mm-hmm.
beans. So I know when I was doing my last prep, I would buy these dried beans and I would soak them up and then make basically oil-free curry because I love curry.
Mm.
And when you're on prep and you're craving for food, anything that's a bit spicy makes it, taste so much better. So, I would basically make curry from water. So,
Wow, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I just replace it with instead of cooking with oil, I'll be doing the same thing, putting in like a little bit of the water first, and then all the dry and fresh spice, and then putting in the soaked up beans and kind of just making that stew on a like a medium low heat for a while. And that was a good source of protein. Though I have to say, personally, I get a lot of flatulence. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of air gets built up. So it's not the most convenient thing if you are going to be traveling around outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Obvious reasons. But I do find with soy, I don't have that problem. So
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's processed, like I said, with like tofu and tempeh, anything that's already kind of made into a different, like not in its original form,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't have so much of an issue with the gas buildup.
Well, but you take it far, man. You got the dry beans and you soak them. You
Yeah,
take it really far. Like a lot of people just buy it in cans, and
in
that's
cans.
already gonna be less fiber, so less bloating and less gases. And then
Ah,
yeah, so that's why, like, try to buy it in the cans. Of course, maybe it's
okay.
gonna be not as nutritious, but
Uh-huh.
if you had the problem, buy it from the can, then wash it out from the can. So you
Okay.
take
Uh-huh.
extra fibers and extra those, things out, and then consume it, whatever you want to cook it.
That's very
That's
good
my
advice.
recommendation for you. Yeah, because you usually bloated and has gases from the beans because of the outside things on them,
Mm,
not the
mhm.
actual beans itself. That's why
Okay.
if you buy, like, let's say snacking beans already like dry, like edamames, I'm sure you feel fine, right? From
Mhm,
the
mhm.
package.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you
Oh, I
really,
never thought of that. Thank you.
yeah, no worries, no worries. And
Mhm.
according to soy, I really
Uh-huh.
recommend to go only by organic,
Yeah,
non-GMO
non-GMO.
soy.
Yeah.
Because also, again, if you're not buying organic and non-GMO, especially in Japan, I think it's a lot of fake bad soy in there that can
Uh-huh.
affect your body in wrong ways, you know?
Okay, okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm just curious, how much soy did you eat your last prep that is lower your
Oh,
testosterone?
a lot of soy. Because I would make my protein would be blended in soy milk. I have a lot of tofu. Natto, natto, the fermented soybeans, and it's like a famous kind of Japanese staple. I actually don't like it
Mm,
because it's very sticky, and it has a very distinct kind of smell to it.
I never
Um,
tried. I don't know what is
it's
that.
apparently it's very healthy because because it's fermented. It promotes a lot of good gut bacteria.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's a health food, but I had a lot of that too, just to try and meet kind of minimal protein. I think I was trying to get like 120 to 150 grams of protein a day,
Mm-hmm.
and really with without gluten and without you know animal based sources, which I was getting. I was using Greek yogurt. So I was maybe getting about 50 grams of protein from the Greek yogurt, but then the remaining 100 I had to get elsewhere. And so it was mainly soy back then.
Yeah, I
um
see what you mean. Well,
mm,
yeah, as a nutritionist, I would say get 150 gram of protein without gluten and without soy and without dairy, without animal. It's super easy. Like I thought you was reaching for something like 250. That's a little
no, no,
hard.
no, no,
So,
no.
like, if you need help, your next prep, please reach me out. I will
I
help you out.
will. I
It's
will.
like it for me is my passion, and I get
Uh-huh.
actually interested with someone like you reaching out to me because I'm like, oh wow, that's getting interesting because it's not
Uh-huh.
not typical client. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think you're just not super knowledgeable in how
Hmm.
to build your plate because you can
Right.
get a little bit of protein here and there
Right.
without adding it into your main source. Like for example, you can choose higher let's say oatmeal in the morning that already has 6 gram of protein in them, add a 2 tablespoon of like let's say low fat peanut butter, it's
Mm-hmm.
already 16 gram of protein, and add a hemp seeds or a little bit of different seeds, a little bit of almonds. So like those small things that ended up your plate will be like 30 grams of protein even without
Mm-hmm.
protein powder. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just science. And then you have
Right.
to like get used to it, especially
Right.
with you, and you have to be so careful. So for anyone listening out there, because I know you're not alone,
Mm,
it's such a huge problem. A lot of people has gluten intolerance, right? And dairy intolerance. And
mm,
we're not even talking about going vegan. We're just talking about health in general. Because if you have an intolerance, you're gonna feel bad if you eat
mm,
that. So
mm,
it's totally possible, guys. It just has to get a little bit of knowledge and then a little bit of preparation. Try and error, right? And then you will finally get it. But I'm glad we touched on that because eating too much soy is not good. But I
no,
would say it's like eating too much of anything, you know?
mm, mm,
So I know you as a man and then getting ready to a show, want to build muscles. And when you find out that the soy is mess up your testosterone, get upset. But
mm,
honestly, I think if you was eating enough soy, but not too much, it wouldn't be a problem because I know a lot of bodybuilders also plant-based eating soy
mm,
and
mm,
not having any trouble with that. But yeah, they don't have soy in each meal, right?
mm,
So
mm.
that's big difference.
The one point that I do want to touch on about vegan bodybuilders, uh, uh, some of them, they have good physiques, but then no one talks about whether or not they're enhanced, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they try and keep it a secret, but I think when people look at vegan bodybuilders, like you look at some, one guy who, was IFBB pro, I don't think he's competing anymore. He was, no, a well-known vegan bodybuilder. You can't really compare those people to people that are just following a plant-based or a vegan lifestyle, doing a little bit of weight training and thinking, oh, we can look like that just eating plants. Because I think
Mhm.
regardless of plants or not, like steroid use is definitely a big part of looking in a certain way. So I think that is something when when they made the Game Changer documentary, that was not touched on. And I feel like that part was a little bit disingenuous, because you should be transparent about that too. Um,
Yeah, well, thank you for saying this. Yeah, it's a good point. Absolutely. And I struggle with that a lot because when I compete, even in bikini, even in woman division, girls use enhancing drugs. And
mm,
as longer I compete, as more I can feel like I cannot reach to the same level because I'm natural. And
right.
it's not because I'm plant-based. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And
Right.
then a lot of the time, people might confuse by thinking, oh, I guess I have to start eating meat in order to, gain as much muscles as those people are. And it's not the true thing is you have to start use steroids if you want to,
Yeah.
especially in the man divisions, right?
Yeah.
So, and when we're talking about guys, is absolutely different level of muscularity.
Mm.
So if you even a meat lover, you don't eat drugs, well, it's going to be a really hard time for you to get in a professional bodybuilding stage.
Mm, yeah. And also, I think especially for women, right? Because if you guys want to build using drugs, you mostly, the only kind of options you have is mainly orals, and orals is super bad for your liver and your kidneys. But so with men, at least we have the option of getting maybe testosterone or different steroids, and it's all done via injection, which doesn't have to go through our internal organs and damage
Yeah.
as much. But with women, you really have a few orals that you could take. So, I think for women, it's really a difficult decision to either remain completely natural or be a little bit enhanced, but then have all the side effects of using oral steroids.
Yeah.
um
Have you
yeah.
ever tried anything?
Well, part of the low testosterone, I was recommended on a testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. So when I found out that I had low T, I did go to the clinic and get testosterone boosting, but that was about all that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I've don't I know so many friends in Japan that are not natural. Most of my good friends, there are two kind of main federations here in Japan for bodybuilding and men's physique. So one's the one that's basically affiliated with NPC Worldwide and IFBB Pro League. So most of my friends from that compete in that the federation are all on stuff, and then my other friends from the other federation that's they promote anti-doping, and so none of them are on anything or not supposed to be. And I to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they are. They don't look like they're on steroids
Mm-hmm.
anyways. Um, but yeah, it's a very taboo kind of subject in Japan, because
Well,
the
in all the world, honestly, it's
yeah,
taboo
but in
subject as
Japan,
well.
it's even worse. And you have
Mm.
so recently I have been quite open about sharing knowledge about steroids on my own Instagram. And a lot of young boys, and this is very concerning. I have 19-year-old, 18-year-old boys that write DM to me saying, "Oh, I was on this oral," or I've been trying this pro hormone. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
what are you
gosh.
doing? And
Wow.
they have this mindset, and it doesn't help that the sellers of these, these different drugs, they first of all, they're big sponsors of the federation that
Yeah,
compete in.
unfortunately.
That's one thing. Two, the way the marketing is done is take this pro hormone or take this oral steroid with your pre-workout and it gives you an amazing pump. I'm like, that is not how it works. And you people know that's not how it works. You're just making this false advertising to make money, and you don't really care about people's health at all. So like, these young boys, when they see that, because no one talks about this. And for me, I don't really have anything at stake. I'm not a personal trainer. I haven't competed in a long time, and it doesn't matter. I do intend to compete, but it doesn't, for me, if I don't compete, it's not the end of my life. I'm okay with that. So I can talk about steroids if I want to. So I've just been sharing, information like very general, basic knowledge, like if you take steroids, make sure you get blood work done. What kind of, you test for your liver enzymes, you test for your red blood count, you test for your PSA, and just very not like simple stuff. And then these boys, they just come out to me because they don't know. Obviously, you have the really, advanced steroid users. They all have their own kind of routine. They have their coaches and whatnot. So they have a basic knowledge, but obviously they're not going to share that, because if you share that openly, you're going to get disqualified from the federation. Even the one that's not natural, they're not going to, they on their website, they say, we are against drug use, performance enhancement drug use, but then every single top athlete in the federation is using it, right?
Yeah.
So there's very little information that's shared around. Then all these people, they reach out to me. I've had tens of people say, I've been using this, I've been using that, what do you think about this, and what do you think about that? And with us, at least the lucky thing is we can immediately look up the drug name in English and have all this different information on it. There's nothing in Japan, nothing.
Oh, really?
It's
Wow.
really bad. And so they really, I think a lot of these young boys, they think taking, oral steroid is like taking creatine.
Oh
They
my
really think that.
God.
I'm like, do you know what it's doing to you?
Wow.
Like, aside from the damage it causes for your organs, like think about like your reproduction. Think about
Hmm.
if you're still in your late teens, you haven't even finished puberty. And if
Yeah.
you're taking, exogenous steroids, you growing into an adult man, that's going to be affected. And none of the doctors, even the doctors here, they're not very well knowledgeable about protein use. No, no, sorry, steroid use.
Steroid
So
use, yeah.
it is a very big problem. So
Wow.
going back to the initial thing is, when you look at game changers and you have these bodybuilders that go on and say, I'm completely plant-based, and look at me, I don't have any problems building muscle. Of course you don't, because you're not natural.
Hmm.
But I think that's one thing that I really want beginners into, doing fitness and bodybuilding, doing it plant-based, to know that there is a difference. And I'm not pro or against steroids. I think that's a personal choice. You have to make being very well knowledgeable about what you're going to sign yourself into, right? But you can't expect to look a certain way, regardless if you're eating, just plant-based, or if you're having, kilos worth of chicken a day. You still won't look a certain way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of my, I have several problems with a lot of these vegan kind of activist, what do you call, documentaries.
Mm-hmm,
That was
hmm.
one of my major issues, was I didn't feel like there was full transparency and they were being completely honest.
Yeah, I love that. I love your perspective, and I like that you point up this. This is my kind of like, same triggering point, because I got so much trouble with girls coming to me saying, should I take to look like you? And I'm like, whoa, 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 stop in there. Like,
Yeah.
what do you eat? How do you train? I don't even use creatine or pre-workout for like 5 years of my fitness career. I still don't use pre-workout. I eat apple. If I really mess up and I didn't sleep well, I just go and sleep. You know what I mean? And don't work out. And then, yes, my results are not as maybe crazy good as the other girls who are take the enhancement drugs. And I'm
Right.
not against that. But
Right.
of course, I take a choice to go on my own and see how my body gonna grow muscle naturally. and it doesn't has nothing to do with going vegan or not. So it's
Right.
amazing that you point on that. And then in America, the problem is people are just too stupid to Google. If in Japan they not find the information, in
Yeah.
America, it's crazy, because I have clients who come into me and saying, he told me to took this and I did it. And I'm like, hold on, you didn't even Google what did you take? No,
Yeah.
he said it's okay. Who is he?
Yeah.
Is it a
Yeah.
god? Like, why you trust these people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. We have
So
those people here too.
so I
One
think it's
guy.
not about the disinformation. It's about people just being too lazy to Google
Yeah,
it. You know what I
that
mean?
that also. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
And that's
well,
also with nutrition. I had one girl recently come up to me, which I'm going to refer you to her. Oh no, I'm going to refer her to you.
mhm.
She hasn't she's been off and on going to the gym training. She hasn't, I don't think her diet is dialed in. But recently, I think for at least the last half year, she hasn't even gone to the gym. And she sends me a message and says she would like to get a coach that will get her ready for a bikini show at the end of the year.
Mm,
It's like,
interesting.
hang on a second. And she said, and this coach will also have to be, aware and be able to um have a menu for her that is based on her plant-based lifestyle. I
Yeah.
I get it because I was there one time, but I'm like, you do have to put in more work on your end as well. So,
Hmm.
but it seems like, like this friend of mine, she's just struggling with knowing what she needs to do. So I think she needs to be pointed the direction, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like she also needs to understand that she needs to put in most of the work. Like
Yeah, of course. And
people
if
who
she
are
didn't go to the
coaches,
gym, the good place to start, just I want to be healthy, I want to go to the gym. The worst place is to start, I want to do a show, and then what?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's the problem too. But I'm happy we point on that. It's a good idea to finally make a film about enhancement drugs in bodybuilding, because honestly, every year the bodybuilding gets crazier and crazier.
mm,
By crazier, I mean the guys the like get bigger and bigger by using
yeah,
those specific drugs.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not healthy. It's unhealthy sport.
yeah.
And it's for some reason, well, I think we talk about that a little bit, for money reasons, it's not being touched, but it's mess up all the system. Like, it's mess up all the imagination people of like health and fitness, right?
Right, right, right.
So yeah, it's really cool to find someone who gonna make finally the video about that. But I guess maybe it's not gonna be sponsored. We're gonna get trouble. You know what
Yeah,
I
no,
mean?
well, I mean, I get it. In a way, I get why people want to, because when you look at a bodybuilding show, you don't want to look at someone who just looks a little bit better than your average physique. You want to look at people that are just freaks of nature, right? So I get it
Well,
that
I don't
people,
know. As for me, no, really. I look at the Arnold Schwarzenegger when he won his first Olympia, being completely natural. I like that body. I'm
mm,
sorry, nothing against today's bodybuilders. I love how they look like, because I know how hard it is to get that physique, but it's scary.
mm,
Honestly, it's scary. Maybe it's not scary when you guys see it from the screen, from the stage, but I'm on the backstage. And when
oh,
I see a person having so much biceps that he cannot like reach his head,
right,
sorry, it's scary.
right, right,
It's
right,
not
right.
cool, right?
Yeah. And I do think, especially a lot of the retired bodybuilders, they are starting to, really talk about this. So people really have to listen. And it's like what you're saying, like people don't Google this kind of stuff. It's all
Yeah.
there, but people are willfully stupid. People they will cut out what is not convenient for what they want to hear, and they will only look at information that will benefit, their whatever their goal in terms of their aesthetics will be. So I think with my concern with Japan is, you can't even get information because most people, they're not, they don't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the information, of course the information is available in English, but they can't understand. So then
Mm-hmm.
the only information that's out there regarding steroids in Japanese is very outdated. It's all made by, basically gym bros that use a lot of steroid, and that's not, very knowledgeable and careful. So that's the kind of only information going around, and that's what I'm really like passionate, and I really would like to change, because the Natural Federation, they have these anti-doping seminars that
Mm-hmm.
all competitors will have to attend each year. And in the seminars, they don't talk about, okay, this steroid has this bad effect. It's all, here's a list of things that are prohibited to use. It's evil, it's bad, don't use it, don't touch it, don't associate to people that use it or know anything about it. And
Mm.
I'm so against that idea, because it's like, if you want to be against something, which is fine, you have to be knowledgeable about what it is that you're opposing. So
Yeah.
why are you even stopping people from getting at least knowledge about why it is something is bad for you?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's this general misconception of, oh, steroid is evil. Yes, I think if you're looking at the Olympia level, if you want to make it in Olympia top 10 open bodybuilding, of course, the amount they're using is completely unhealthy. It's very dangerous. But if you're looking at just a little bit of performance enhancement, especially like for someone like me, who has low free testosterone, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually needed for my, as a man, to function at a normal, like level.
Yeah,
um
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
so a more holistic, people need to understand what is bad about testosterone or about steroids, and then how it works and what kind of things are out there. So then you don't have these guys, 18, 19-year-old guys buying orals and thinking it's creatine.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, the power of knowledge. And hopefully, after this podcast, you guys get interested and start to Google more about that, right? I am really happy we talk about that. Speaking about your journey, what do you think was the hardest thing for you being plant-based, getting like while getting ready for a show and being a gay? So this is a lot, man. This is like freak on freak on freak. So I really want, like, I just honest. I wonder like how you deal with that and what was the hardest thing with all of
Yeah.
it.
Well, I don't think being gay never really played into the picture like it
Really?
was.
Because like I just want to point like I know a lot of bodies, like gym
Uh-huh.
bodies, who
Yeah,
would never accept like a gay getting ready for a man bodybuilding show. You know what I mean?
right,
And
right.
being plant-based, like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, like it's a lot of questions.
Yeah. So I think my sexuality and in the whole kind of fitness domain in Japan was it was never like contested, because I never tried hide it.
Mm-hmm.
From the very first day on my Instagram profile, I write I'm gay. So
Nice.
no one had the, like, is he gay? Like, does he like me? And then all the guys that I end up, training with, hanging out with, my friends, they all like, they know that I'm gay, but then at the same time, like, they're never like worried, like, oh my God, am I going to, like, if I train with him, is he gonna try and like touch me in like
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
inappropriate ways? Because they know that, I'm like that. You do have a lot of gay people, and I'm sure it's not just a Japan specific thing, who are very kind of closeted, and they don't tell the people around them that they about their sexual orientation, and then they have to find out in a different way. And I think that's when people lose trust, because I feel like I don't like to be very like in your face about my sexuality or about my, being plant-based. I'm just that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're Avrora, you train, you're vegan, and you're from the Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just you, but you don't push that to, like, look at me, I'm vegan,
Yeah.
look at me,
Yeah.
I'm a bikini athlete.
Yeah.
you put it out there, people know, but you don't push that. So it's I feel like it's a balance. So I never felt like my sexuality people had ever judged me. And also as you know, I like posing in bikini, and I teach bikini posing now.
I love
It's
that. Yeah, now I
thank
want to take a
you.
class from you.
Oh, yeah, then you teach me nutrition, I'll teach you bikini posing.
Sure, yeah, that's deal. Yeah, done.
Yes. So with that, like I did have a few people kind of like, what's that guy doing, posing bikini, but then it didn't matter because I enjoyed it. And it got to a point where no one actually started, like people don't laugh at me posing bikini anymore because I was telling myself, okay, let them laugh, but get so good at it that no one will laugh at you anymore. So I'm teaching a few IPB pros for now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think when I got to the point of teaching pros how to pose, people stop, like, what's that guy doing? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but until then, it was just fun. I was passionate about doing this, and I just kept on doing it, and people stopped, the chatter, and it's a part of me now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you have that part, and then the biggest part was the nutrition. For me, it's really the nutrition and the lack of guidance, because I am
Mm-hmm.
doing it alone. It's like if you look at our meat eating bodybuilding friends, they don't have to do it alone, because there is like, hey, like my macros for this week, this is my macros, I'm eating chicken and I'm eating salmon and this is what I'm doing. Oh, but I'm not, like I'm retaining some water, or and then your friend will be, oh yeah, I tried that. And what about trying, like just adjusting this and adjusting that? It's much easier. But it's like, so I went from lentils to peas. Like,
Yeah, and they will be like,
gross.
"What?"
Yeah, yeah. So that was and that definitely still is the biggest challenge, is to have,
Yeah.
a community. And then also, even for us, like if we lived close together and we go through the kind of bodybuilding process together, there's still a gap, because you're a female, I'm a male, biologically, and also our muscle density, like you mentioned, is different. Our requirements for nutrition is different. Like I won't be able to share my notes with you, like it will still have to be tailored. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and because there's such a small group of people that do what we do, it's just the information is not so. And also, one thing I also have a problem with vegans is we don't admit this, but in terms of bodybuilding, being on a plant-based diet is definitely not optimal for bodybuilding. And I think people try and go around that topic of discussion, or they try and deny it. They say, no, you can definitely, but you can, yes, we do it. So I know it's a possibility, but it's a lot harder. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not as, it's not as convenient, it's not as easy, and it's not as fast. And that's something
Absolutely.
that I'm okay to live with, because I weigh the convenience and the efficacy of bodybuilding to my love of animals. It doesn't weigh together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, but I'm not okay with people pretending like that's not a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah, I
my
agree with you. Yeah. Thank you for saying this. And it was an amazing conversation, but I have to wrap her out because we are
yes.
almost an hour talking.
Okay.
And I just really love it. I feel I can talk to you even longer, but I have to end it. So
Yes.
before I let you go, I wanted people to be able to find you. So please tell us where people can follow your journey to the stage again, hopefully,
Uh-huh.
or just see your beautiful posing in bikini.
Thank you. So I'm active on Instagram, and so my Instagram account is plant-based_fitness_JP.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone wants to visit Japan and visit Tokyo, especially Avrora, if you want to come, I know a whole bunch of very delicious vegan plant-based places to eat at. So
Oh my God, you get me
hit me up.
excited. Yes, I would love to. Well, the same to you. If you ever
Yes.
gonna come to Hawaii, we are really close. Please let me
Okay.
know. I have a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
vegan restaurants here. I'm just gonna
Oh
be
my
happy
God.
to hanging out with you and know you a
Yes.
little better. Other than that, guys, the description down below, we're gonna include the Instagram, Mamo Instagram, and all the other links that you can use to find him. Also, I just want to say thank you so much, Mamo, for coming up today, finding time in your schedule, and being so open to this conversation. And maybe you didn't heard, I want to invite you to Vegan Expo and Vegan first ever
Oh,
bodybuilding
wow.
show, natural vegan bodybuilding show that is
Wow.
going to be in Florida on April 15.
Okay. Are you, so you're going to compete?
I don't think I'm gonna compete because I'm kind of off my season right now, so not a good
Okay.
timing. But it's gonna be
Okay.
exhibition that I will probably join, and
Oh,
maybe I'll
wow.
do like a
Okay.
nutrition seminar. We'll see. But if you can make it, it's gonna be a huge natural vegan bodybuilding event where you
Wow.
can meet more
Awesome.
people like us, and then
Right.
find, maybe your community, maybe your new trainer who can help you on your
Right.
prep.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. And
Yeah, sure. I will link the description down below, the tickets to that event as well.
all right.
If anything you want to say before you go, please do.
No, it was just such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Even though our time talking on this Zoom call is ended, we can still keep in touch and discuss things offline too. And yeah,
Absolutely.
anyone, again, if you're going to visit Tokyo and you're vegan or you're looking for plant-based, I'll be more than happy to join you with the eating tour. So reach out to me.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
All
Mamo.
right. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Have a wonderful rest of your
Bye.
day.
All right. You too. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
guys.